It was the final day of the 2009 session when a fired-up Republican caucus argued against and turned back a bill that would have cut $60 million from the levy equalization fund and severely hurt property-poor school districts. House Bill 1776 never came to a vote.
I have stood on this House floor and listened about the importance of equity. I have stood on this House floor and listened to One Washington. I have stood on this House floor and listened to the concept of all means all, and tonight we walk away from that promise. We walk away from that principle. It is funny, Mr. Speaker, that the number of this bill is in fact 1776, which reminds us of so long ago of our Declaration of Independence that said all men are created equal. Our Constitution, Mr. Speaker, in Article 9, recognized the fact that all men were only created equal if they had the opportunity, to get the education they deserve. And yet today, on this floor, we walk away from that.
Did you realize, Mr. Speaker, when the case called Doran 1 was heard, that the average levy in the state of Washington was 33%? 33%. We're going to change it so 64 districts can have a 35% levy. 204 districts can have a 28% levy. That gets us dangerously close to where we are. And I see your gavel, and Mr. Speaker, it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop because this is such an important issue. It's as equitable as we can get today. And if we're not willing to do what we do today, how can we say we're going to take care of things in the future? It doesn't ring true.
Our Constitution talks about a uniform system of schools. And that's an important principle that this body has fought to uphold for a long time. And here I see us taking a step backward at a time when we can least afford it, and when our school districts that will be most affected can least afford it.
Mr. Speaker, this bill is not about money. This bill is a moral statement. What this bill does, by the signature of this legislature, is that those that have can do better, and those that do not have will sacrifice for them. Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence of our country, said the system of public education is the first defense of our democracy. The first defense. And now we have made that a tiered class.
Education is the great equalizer. Education is what gives kids hope. It gives them vision. It gives them promise. You see, if this passes tonight, the legislature is making a bold statement. Teachers lost in the budget, and they lost badly. With this, the legislature will be making a statement that they are walking away from kids one step at a time.
And Mr. Speaker, I think you believe, and I know our elected speaker believes in One Washington, and I think we try here to do that at times. Sometimes we succeed, and sometimes we fail. And I think this is a real stark choice on that tonight. Part of the problem in my district and many of the districts is that we are property poor districts. My district has counties ranging from 55 to 85% government-owned ground. Makes it awfully hard to support our schools. And Mr. Speaker, when we pass a capital budget that buys up more land for the state, it's a slap in the face, frankly, to those of us trying to fund schools adequately in the district.
We know it's hard as we leave session. Every year there's bills out there that people want. There's things that people want. But this is about what our children need. Mr. Speaker, this is a passion of this caucus. If you don't know it and don't see it, you will never see more of a passion than you see tonight about the children of Washington State. This is one of those things that you say you need to do for the budget, you don't. If you put this bill down right now, tonight, what happens? The world goes on, and levy equalization is restored. That's all it takes. One rogue amendment in the Senate destroying our children. One rich school district that wants to get richer, punishing my kids. That's what this is. This is vindictive. This is hateful.
We're destroying our efforts right now. We're putting them in a situation where they will never be able to get started properly. And this idea in our Constitution about giving kids equal access to education has been destroyed by years of inaction, years of punting. How much longer will we do that, folks? Mr. Speaker, how much longer? I'm sick of the rhetoric of just change and nothing really happens. Symbolism without substance. Every year I come down here, and this is another example. Again, false promises, false delivery. We fail to deliver on the majority, and we make this case every time. And here we are. Again, a broken promise, a broken hope on the part of families and children in this state. Please vote no.
Mr. Speaker, I've got to go home, face every parent, child, teacher, administrator, and tell them we did the best we could. We can do better. We can fix this tonight. I don't want to have to go home and tell them that we cut this, and we didn't have to. Mr. Speaker, I urge that we put this down, and we do it right here this evening. Vote no on concurrence.
You know, I know we all want to leave here today and leave on time, but I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, I would stay here till Christmas if I can save the 25 jobs that will be lost in my district over passing this measure. And that's what's going to happen. You see, enough's enough.
What this amendment does, Mr. Speaker, is send the message that some children are worth more than others. Some teachers are worth more than others. Some school districts are more valuable than others. It sets up and perpetuates, rather, a fractured system, a disparate system, where there are some haves and there are lots of have-nots.
In 2003, we made a promise to the people of this state, parents and children. Tonight, we will break that promise. Mr. Speaker, members of this body, we should not pass this bill. We should not concur.
This is one of the most hideous, unconscionable amendments that has ever been brought to this House. We should be ashamed of ourselves as an elective body, even giving it any consideration. We are turning our back on our constitutional duty.
As I start looking at some other districts around the state, especially those on the east side of the lake, not the east side of the state, the Bellevue area, Redmond, Kirkland, and even on the west side of the lake, Seattle, none of their districts that I can find, and I'd love it if somebody could clear this up for me because I don't know every district, but I can't find any districts, school districts that are losing money in those areas. Is it just those rural parts of the state that are losing money?
What has been sent to us from the other chamber is not the heart of this body. We all agree this is bad legislation. We all agree. I know there's been a lot of press about what we disagree on in these final days. We have the opportunity as a body to do what we know is right tonight. Let the children and the parents and the teachers of Washington State see the House of Representatives tonight take action. Let this be our finest hour. Let us say we will stay and do the hard work. My good colleague that sits next to me, he and I don't serve on these committees. I don't know what the perfect answer is, but we have extraordinary legislators in this body who do. Let's put this down. Let's fulfill our constitutional duty together as a body, Democrat and Republican alike, and say no. Tonight, equality for each of our children will prevail. I urge you to put this down.
For the members' information, we'll be deferring action on Substitute House Bill 1776 and will hold its place on the second reading calendar. The good lady from the 25th District, Representative Morrell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll have a Democratic caucus.
The House at ease for the purpose of a Democratic caucus.